Hello, my friend. Could the answer to ethical, affordable, and sustainable meat be running right outside your window? As wild game prices climb and chefs chase new flavors, squirrel meat, once a pioneer staple, fetches up to $12 a pound in specialty markets. But what's the real story behind this controversial protein-packed ingredient? And why is it generating so much buzz among foodies, farmers, and conservationists alike? History and culture. From necessity to novelty. Squirrel meat isn't new. In fact, it's one of North America's oldest wild proteins. 1. Colonial settlers and indigenous peoples relied on squirrels for survival. Quick to trap and abundant, squirrels were easy protein before modern livestock. 2. The iconic Brunswick stew of the American South, originally made with squirrel. 3. In Victorian England, squirrel pie was a delicacy for the adventurous upper class. 4. Over time, supermarket meats pushed wild game to the margins, until now. Modern revival. With the rise of nose-to-tail eating, foraging, and local food movements, squirrel is making a comeback in top restaurants and among ethical hunters. Ecology and population. Why squirrel is sustainable. There are over 200 species of squirrels worldwide, but the gray squirrel, Sciurus carolinensis, is the most common game species in North America. Ecological role. Squirrels are prolific, adaptable, and help forests by spreading seeds. Unchecked, squirrel populations can damage crops, gardens, and even forest health by overbrowsing saplings. Sustainability. Regulated hunting prevents overpopulation, reduces pressure on crops, and provides wild, free-range meat without industrial farming. No feed, no antibiotics, no carbon-intensive infrastructure, just wild protein. Nutrition and health. The value inside is squirrel healthy? Lean protein. 21 g per 100 grams, comparable to chicken or rabbit. Low fat, 2-4 g per 100 grams. Most is unsaturated. Rich in B vitamins, iron, zinc, and omega-3s. Fewer calories than pork or beef, great for low-fat diets. Modern analysis. No growth hormones, minimal environmental contaminants, compared to farmed meats. Foraged diets mean higher micronutrient diversity. Allergy. Note: as with all wild meats, people with game meat allergies or certain health conditions should consult doctors before trying. Harvesting, hunting, processing, and regulations. How is squirrel harvested? Primarily through regulated small game hunting in the US, Canada, and parts of Europe. Seasons and bag limits ensure sustainable harvests. In some places, like the UK, eating gray squirrel is encouraged to control invasive species and protect native red squirrels. Processing. Squirrels are field-dressed and skinned. Meat is usually soaked to remove any gaminess. Wild game must be handled carefully to avoid parasites. Always cook thoroughly. Market value. Wild hunted squirrel can fetch $8–12 per pound at farmers markets or through specialty butchers. Culinary uses, from old school stew to modern plates. How does squirrel taste? Mild, sweet, and nutty, reflecting their foraged diet. Texture. Tender yet firm, somewhere between chicken and rabbit. Classic dishes. Brunswick stew. Squirrel pie, England. Squirrel gumbo, Louisiana. Fried or grilled with wild herbs. Modern chefs. Michelin-starred restaurants are serving squirrel roulettes, confit, and even tacos. Squirrel's wild reputation and unique flavor are a hit with adventurous eaters. Economics. The emerging market for wild game. Game meat boom. Global wild game market is expected to exceed $3.5 billion by 2028. Market data forecast, 2023. Squirrel meat is a niche but fast-growing segment, driven by ethical hunters and foodie demand. Farmers markets, online game suppliers, and even some specialty grocery stores now stock squirrel. Profitability. Foraging/hunting costs are low. Margins are high for skilled suppliers. Invasive gray squirrel in the UK is a unique eco-business. Some charities process and sell meat to fund conservation. Controversies and concerns. Food safety. Proper handling and thorough cooking are essential. Risk of tularemia, parasites. Commercial sale of wild harvested squirrel is regulated or prohibited in some regions. Cultural stigma. Squirrel meat still faces skepticism as poverty food or strange to some consumers. Others embrace it as authentic, eco-friendly, and adventurous. Ethics. Some animal welfare advocates question hunting, while conservationists highlight the sustainability and ecological value. Sustainability, conservation, and the future. Why squirrel may be the future of ethical meat. Zero feed input, zero antibiotics, zero waste. Hunting supports conservation, helps control overpopulation, and funds wildlife habitat protection through licenses. Promotes biodiversity by managing invasive species, e.g., gray squirrels in the UK. Innovation. Modern cold chains and online sales are making wild game, including squirrel, more accessible. Chefs, influencers, and food writers are changing perceptions, emphasizing flavor, sustainability, and health. Community and food culture, squirrel as story. Hunting squirrel is often a family tradition, connecting generations to the outdoors. Squirrel cook-offs, festivals, and online communities are spreading recipes and knowledge. The squirrel revival is part of a broader movement toward local, wild, and sustainable eating. A wild future on the table. Squirrel Meat's journey, from forest to fork, is about more than taste. It's a story of sustainability, forgotten tradition, and the search for new solutions in a changing food system. Final thought. As meat prices rise and consumers seek ethical, ecological, and adventurous protein, squirrel meat may just go from backyard curiosity to premium plate. Is it time we gave this wild food another look? Would you try squirrel meat for the flavor, nutrition, or sustainability? Should game meats become a bigger part of our diets, or stay a niche delicacy? Share your squirrel stories, questions, or recipes below. Subscribe to AGRI 360X for more food, farming, and wildlife stories, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m.